Okay, here's a demo on animating multiple objects. Okay, first thing we're going to do is open up Bryce. Now again, I've made a toy box here with some toys in it, and I'm going to have this block hit the maraca and turn will hit the other maraca, and that'll create a chain reaction to make this top spin around. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is animate the block flying into the first maraca. So I'm going to make sure auto key's on, and I pushed plus there by the key, but I have to have my object selected, so I had to do it again. So make sure first you select your object, then click the plus sign to the left of the key. Then you can move your scrub key along your timeline and move your object. Here I'm just using the axis controls to make the cube move into the edge of the maraca there. That's going to kind of bounce off the handle and off the screen. That's the only object I'm not going to loop back to the original position. I'm just going to have it disappear out of the scene. Okay, so now I'm going to move the scrub Okay, so now I'm going to move the scrub key along a little more and move the object kind of as if it bounced off the handle. Okay. Okay, and I'm just looking at it from a different point of view here. So there it goes off of the or outside the edge of the box where the toys are. Move it a little further here, and again have it bounce off again from the floor, let's say. Okay, and notice the point just before where the cube is sort of off there. I'm going to control click that. Move that down a little bit so it actually hits the floor. Okay, I turned off auto key now so I can watch it. Okay, sometimes you want to turn off auto key so you don't accidentally animate something that you don't want. Okay, that looks pretty good. I can also go into the motion lab there to the right of the key and the plus and minus, and I can also move the keyframes around. These are the position keyframes. If I move them closer together, the action will probably happen faster. Okay, so I can turn on auto. I just turned auto key back on, just in case I want to start animating a little more here. Okay, I'm just moving the keyframes around to see what happens. Now notice there, by doing that, it skips a couple of the frames and goes right to the end. Okay, so that obviously didn't work. So again, experiment with the keyframe positions, but don't panic if it doesn't work out. Just move them again on this graph here. I'll extend that out a little more. See what that looks like. Another thing I can do is try adjusting the velocity of it here. Again, by clicking on the position word, clicking on the word position, and then grabbing one of those motion curves and adjusting the line. So it's going to start out, the steeper the line is, the faster your object travels. So again, that's too fast. You can't really see it hitting all the points. So then you could try it again maybe and make the curve a little less steep in the beginning and then taper off at the end. So you can see how the speed changed at the end, but it's a little too slow, I think. So again, you can just adjust the curve and see what that will do. Not too bad. Okay, now here I'm just going to adjust it a little more. I want it to go a little faster up to the end. Okay, that's looking pretty good for a starting motion. Again, I'm going to also do some rotation as well. But, one thing at a time. That's what multiple pass animation is. You do one thing, you create one motion path, then you go back and create some more. Now here I'm rotating the object along the axis tool. Again, just moving it along the timeline and then using the rotation tool. So over time it'll rotate so many revolutions. I want this thing to rotate a bit in the air. Okay, so you can see how it's rotating a little bit. Then I can go up and use the rotation tool up top and rotate it some more. And I'm just clicking on the axes and dragging and just creating some rotation, so it'll rotate that many times within that time that it travels. And try another axis here. So you get this kind of like random motion of the object as it travels through the air. It looks a little more believable, I think. Okay, and I'm just going to save here so I don't lose it. You may want to save every once in a while, especially if you're having problems with crashing. Okay, now I'm going to move the maraca. So I select the maraca, I click plus to create the first keyframe, and now I need to move that maraca, and I have to figure out which axis to move it on. Okay, but I'm going to hold off here for a second. I'm going to create another keyframe with the maraca in the same position. That way it'll stay in that position from the beginning point until that new keyframe where I told it to stay there. So that extra key point is really crucial, that keyframe, just before you start moving your object. Okay, now I moved it along the timeline. Now I want to rotate the object out to hit the other maraca. I'm not getting the right axis point here, so I may have to use a different view. So yeah, I'm not able to adjust from this angle, which is too bad because visually this is the perfect spot, but I can't get the right axis point there. So here, if you do it from director's view, it looks like it's going the right way, but be careful, it may not be. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. Notice there, I've rotated it the wrong way. So I'm in trouble here because I have auto key on. So I need to just shift click on the maraca, delete all keyframes. And I did that in the motion lab. Again, I just clicked into the motion lab, clicked on the word maracas, shift clicked on it, and then I selected delete all keyframes. Okay, so I'm going to turn off auto key again so I can readjust this first position here. So we haven't keyframed anything yet because I've turned off auto key. Now I'm just trying to get the object in the spot where it needs to be. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to turn on auto key again. Start my keyframing by pressing plus. Move my scrub key along the timeline here on the bottom. And again, I have to create that other keyframe, don't forget, to keep the maraca in the same position until it reacts to the cube. So that extra keyframe is what's going to keep your object in the same position as it was in the beginning. Okay, so there it looks like I'm rotating it now pretty well. Okay. Okay, so now I just want to adjust it. It's a little too far forward. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, and that's all you have to do. If auto key's on, it'll make the adjustment for you as you. So here I'm turning off auto key. I'm going to go into the motion lab here, and notice here I'm going to select the rotation, the beginning keyframe for rotation by control clicking it. Control click and then drag the mouse, and watch what happens. I've copied that keyframe now, and I'm putting the first position keyframe at the end, so it loops back to where it was. And all I did there was take the first keyframe in the position graph in the motion lab. I control clicked, held the mouse down, dragged it over past the other keyframes, and now watch, it'll return to it'll return to the position. Okay, now I'm going to move the second maraca. So again, same thing, I have to create a first keyframe. I may have forgotten to turn auto key on, so if I did, then that can be a problem, right? Okay, so again, I'm going to look for the axis point to rotate. So there it is, right there. I'm going to rotate the object a little ways. And I'm not sure if auto key is on here, so I'm going to check. Oh, auto key wasn't on. So we're going to have to do the whole thing again. So again, I deleted all keyframes. I'm just going to start again. So auto key now is on. Okay. Click the plus sign to begin your animation. Move your scrub key over again. Again, we want to create that other crucial keyframe by clicking plus again to keep the maraca in the same position between the beginning point and that point. And now I can rotate. Okay, that's perfect. Now we want the maraca to move into the other object, which will in turn move that. Okay. Then we're going to go in, click on maraca, go to rotation, control click the first keyframe and hold the mouse down, and drag that copied keyframe over past the others, and the object will return to that original position. You're just telling the timeline, you're telling the object to go back to that original keyframe at the end. So everything kind of loops back to the original position. Okay, now we're going to go to this other toy here and do the same thing. Okay, auto key should be on, and we're just going to go from there, except I didn't want to start keyframing there, but this may work. Let's try it. So again, I'm having trouble from this point of view getting the right axis point, but I can zoom in here. And we'll just see if this works, even though I'm not sure if I created a first keyframe at the beginning of the timeline. It's okay, there we go. So I just used the rotation tool up above to make it happen. Okay, now I'm going to turn auto key off and just watch it. Okay, or better yet, let's go back to the rotation again. Control click the first point, and let's have it return to its original position. So now when you watch it, it'll go back to its original position. Okay, and now we're going to have this thing hit the ball. Auto key needs to be on. Hit plus. We're going to zoom out here. Again, move the scrub key over. And again, we want to create that other keyframe there by pressing the plus symbol. At some point when I get the move motion right here. There we go. Click plus again, and the ball will stay in that position until then. Okay, and now we're going to move the scrub key over. And then we're going to move the ball. Okay, and I'm using the axis positioning tools this time to move the ball. Again, moving the scrub key over, and I'm going to move the ball in toward the right wall as if it's bouncing off that toy. Okay, then I'll have it bounce, kind of ricochet off the wall back to its original position, let's say. Okay, I'm turning auto key off here. Again, just going to the rotation, the rotation keyframe. Okay, control clicking. And look at that, it takes you right back to that original position. Now the path of the ball is a little bit curved. So I'm going to try adjusting the keyframes by holding down T. First I'm going to move them here a little bit so it doesn't hit the maraca. But remember, you can go into any keyframe too and press, when you get on it, press T, then drag left or right, and you'll start to see the motion path get sharper or more rounded. Okay, and I'm going to do that here in just a minute. Okay, so the path is a little too curved for the ball. So T, hold down T and drag one way or the other, and you can sharpen the motion path's points. You can make it more angular. Okay, that looks much better. Okay, and save it just to make sure. Okay, so the next object we're going to move is this baby toy right here, and that's going to in turn hit the top and make the top do a spin. So auto keys on, click the plus sign, and move your scrub key over. We're going to make that crucial other keyframe there by clicking plus again to keep it in that position the whole time. From there, and then from there it's going to start moving. Okay, I'm not getting the right axis here. So I'm just Control Z, I'm undoing it. Okay, so I'm going to use the rotation tool to get the right one. I think it was the Y axis. So the rotation tool can help you with your rotation too if you can't find the right point on the canvas. Okay, and so now I'm just going to go into rotation, Control click the first keyframe, drag it over to the end, and the toy now will return to its original position. Okay, it's a little laggy. My computer's lagging, but you get the idea. Your computer may lag, but just do the best you can with what you have. Okay, turn auto key back on, and we're going to now make the top spin around. Okay, create that other crucial keyframe there to keep the top in the same position. Then move the scrub key over. And now we'll start our revolutions here. So again, I'm going to use the rotation tool above to get the right axis. So it's going to spin around and do one revolution there. Okay, it's kind of fast there, but we can go in and adjust the keyframes again. I'm going to delete all the keyframes and just redo it. All I did was go into the Motion Lab, click on the spin top, what I named the object, and then I just shift clicked on it actually, and then I selected delete all keyframes. So again, I'm going to just keyframe it again here, plus sign, move the scrub key over, Okay, check out the Motion Lab here. Again, take the final rotation key or keyframe, control click it, and take it out to the end. Okay, looking okay. Okay, now I'm going to move the top out as if it also moved, did kind of a circle away from the other object. Okay, so again, I'm just manually moving this. I'm moving the scrub key and then manually moving the object as it's also rotating. Kind of like we did with the object loop in the last project. Just have it approximate the end here or get close to the end. Just kind of rotate like that. Okay, and you can go in again and adjust your position keyframes or your rotation keyframes. In this case, I'm adjusting position because I moved the object around several times. That way I can move it. It was hitting the other object again, and I don't want that to happen. So again, if auto key's on, you can go back and make these minor adjustments, and auto key will remember it, which is really cool. There's that little jump there that I would probably fix too. It jumps back to the beginning. But that's the basic idea here. Multiple pass animation is, again, you take an object and you animate some characteristic about it, then you go back through the timeline again, and as long as auto key's on, you can make other adjustments such as rotation, and then even select other objects and animate them as well. And so your mission here is to make your 7 objects come to life by giving each their own motion path. They don't have to be running into each other like I'm doing. I'm just doing kind of a cause and effect here. But your objects should all follow their own motion path and do something different. And the goal here is for you to have them loop back to their starting position.